Howdy folks, Nintenjoel here yet again, and this video is kind of a tribute video to the Happy Console Gamer, who is one of my favorite YouTubers. He does video game reviews and rants and just does news about video games, and in my opinion has just a very good style of presenting videos. And one of my favorite videos of his are his collection videos, where he just shows off, like, for instance, his Mega Man collection or his Phantasy Star collection. Today I am going to be showing you my Castlevania collection. I have quite a few Castlevania games. I don't have them all, definitely. And there are a couple rarities that I still am kind of on the lookout for. However, what I have is in front of you. And right here we have the NES releases first. These are the first Castlevanias that ever came out. The first one, Castlevania, is very solid platformer. Very, very good. Defeat Dracula. That's your job. That's your job in all of these. No matter what game you play, you have to defeat Dracula, because somehow he is resurrected over and over and over before, because he's magical, I guess. The second one is Simon's Quest, which is actually my favorite on the NES, and most people are going to laugh at that because they hate that game. I like it because there was a slight RPG element to it. There was you could use items, and it was just odd and cool. And when I was a kid, I was very young and impressionable, and that was the first one I played. Castlevania 3, to be honest, I have not played a lot of, though what I have played, it's got superior graphics between all three, and the music is great. Very good game. After the NES, they went to the handheld Game Boy, which I have the first one, the Castlevania Adventure. Very solid platformer, pretty good. Defeat Dracula once again. I don't have the second one. I used to. It's a really, really good game, and that's all I have to say about that, pretty much. The Castlevania Game Boy games are not really anything special. They're pretty stripped down versions of Castlevania, but they're fun, quick plays. After that, Castlevania moved on to the 16-bit systems, and I only have two of those. There's not many, actually, but Super Castlevania 4, which is an amazing game. This is one of the greatest Castlevania games, and most people would argue the greatest Castlevania game ever made. Superior graphics. I mean, the music is just incredible. The fact that you can whip in all 8 directions was revolutionary for any of the Castlevania games, and still to this day, in a Castlevania game where you have a whip, it's still something that's revolutionary, because not many games have that. The other one that I have is Castlevania Bloodlines for Sega Genesis. Bloodlines is a very well-made game and often overlooked, because Genesis is not really synonymous with Castlevania or any really good, awesome Konami games that I can think of. But then again, I'm not really a Genesis guy. Feel free to correct me. I'm sure you guys will. Castlevania Bloodlines, I'm very glad to own. I got that not too long ago. After Castlevania Bloodlines is where it gets a little obscure. Now, I have this PSP title in front here that is actually a remake of Rondo of Blood, which was a PC Engine only release in Japan, and was supposedly a very good game, and I can tell you from this port it's a very good game, though it's got to be the hardest Castlevania game I've ever played. It is nearly impossible, or I just suck at it. Generally, I'm really good at Castlevania games, but this one is just ridiculous. What's awesome about this disc also is that included is an entirely full game of Symphony of the Night, which is the next game I'm going to talk about. And but you have to unlock it. You have to actually go through a level and find a certain item, and if you don't find that item, you don't unlock the game. This is a nearly impossible task, let me tell you. And again, I'm pretty good at Castlevania games, but I don't know what's up with that game. The difficulty is just ridiculous. So that is kind of the hidden chapter. Us in the United States did not get that chapter until we got it on the PSP. On the PC Engine in Japan, that was a very well-received game. The sequel to that game is, in my opinion, one of the greatest games ever made on any console, anywhere in the entire goddamn universe. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. The first Castlevania that introduced RPG elements, where you could gain experience by killing enemies, level up, and therefore increase your stats. And also there were interesting elements, like there was a merchant in the library where you can buy items and actually buy parts of the map to actually check where you're going in your quest. And this is the first game that introduced what people termed Metroidvania. The reason this is called Metroidvania is because this game is very much like Metroid, but it's also a Castlevania game. Metroid had the unique perspective and gameplay that when you got to a new area, you found a new item, and that item allowed you access into another new area. And when you got to that new area, you were allowed access to another item that would help you somehow along in your quest. And you would have to go back and forth in a maze-like pattern, and in this case, a giant castle. Now, Symphony of the Night is the first game like this, and there were quite a few successors to this, all excellent. In my opinion, all of these next games are my favorites. That would be Castlevania Symphony of the Night for PlayStation 1, Circle of the Moon for Game Boy Advance, and this cartridge I have right here is a funny story, but basically it's two carts in one, and that is Harmony of Dissonance and Aria of Sorrow. Now, people that are familiar with this double pack may be looking at this cartridge a little funny because it is not the cover that is on most other cartridges. I don't know if you can see that or not. Hopefully you can. But this cartridge is actually a bootleg of this game, and the real cartridge has a completely different cover. That cartridge actually works, and it does save, and it's the one I've had forever. I don't know what's up with that, but it has the sticker of the bootleg. All of those games are pretty much the Metroidvania style. Oh, and actually, I almost forgot to mention the two DS games here, Portrait of Ruin and Order of Ecclesia, which I just recently got. These games are excellent as well, and just a whole other story. These games are great. But all of those games employ the same side-scrolling RPG Metroidvania type style and are excellent games. I recommend them very highly. The last two games I'm going to talk about are the two for PlayStation 2, and that is Lament of Innocence, which honestly I'm not a huge fan of. That's probably my least favorite of all the games up here. It felt clunky. It felt like they tackled it a little too early, like it was in production and just you didn't get enough time. This game is good, don't get me wrong. Any Castlevania game is better than any shitty other game or even mediocre game. This Castlevania game's kick ass no matter what. This is a good game, but it's just probably my least favorite of these. It just felt a little clunky and underproduced. The next game on the PlayStation 2, the last game I'm going to talk about, is something that I never hear anybody talk about, and I'm really not sure why. This game was also released on the Xbox, and this is Curse of Darkness. Castlevania Curse of Darkness is a completely 3D world where you can completely rotate your angle of your camera, and you have enemies coming at you from every angle, and you have demons that help you, and they level up with you, and you can switch between demons, and they gain levels, and they evolve and gain more powers and more spells, and their spells are incredibly helpful. You end up using the demons so much in this game, it's incredible. I thought it was hokey at first, but really when you get into the game, the demons are part of they're pretty much the best part of the game. They're so fun to level up and watch what they morph into, because depending on what path you take them on, they can morph into different things. The other great thing about this game is that when you kill enemies, you get pieces of minerals and ore and just items that you can combine to make into weapons and other items and armor and all kinds of stuff. And then you can combine those items and weapons and armor together to make new weapons and armor. It is crazy. It reminds me of Dragon Quest VIII a little bit with the alchemy pot, but incredible game. Also an RPG because it does have the leveling up and experience. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. I just really wanted to do an overview of this. I've been wanting to do one of these for a while, and I can't think of a better series than Castlevania. I can't recommend these enough. Every single one of these games is worth owning. Some of them are hard to get. Other ones that I don't have are even harder to get, but by all means, these are completely worth it. They're so good to own, every single one of them. That's all I have for you today, folks, and I'm going to be doing another one of these fairly soon. If you liked the video, please give a thumbs up. That would be awesome. And if you would like to subscribe to me, that would be even better. You'll be able to see what videos I have coming up next and get to see everything that I do. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching.